Hey, what's up? My name is Ike, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we've made over $150,000 in cash collected, actually more than that, last month selling our info/consulting offer through a live webinar funnel on paid ads. Okay, so I'm going to show you, as you can see in this dashboard right here, over $150,000 in attributed cash collected. The actual number was actually higher because we also had some wires hit our bank account that were not tracked, and the revenue was close to $200,000 because we also had some payment plans. All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we did it. Okay, I actually worked on this offer from I almost launched it. We started from almost zero. Okay, now we're at over $150,000 a couple of months later, and I'm going to show you our exact funnel so you can just copy it. And I'm not going to make this video too long. If you understand how to do this kind of stuff, you are going to get your value out of it, okay? Because I'm not going to go too much in detail with this, but it doesn't matter because you already know your stuff, okay? So let's just jump in with it, okay? So how did we do it? Everything starts with the paid ads, right? So we have paid ads right here. Let me make this a bit thicker. So paid ads. The very important part here is that, okay, I'm just going to show, it's like an AI SaaS consulting offer, okay, how to build and scale your SaaS offer. And it is very important to note that with our paid ads, we are only attracting people who are already actively working on their SaaS, okay, whether it's close to being launched or they already launched and they're struggling to scale it, basically, all right? With paid ads, what we're not doing and what you shouldn't do is try to convince people of your business model, okay? So we're not talking to beginners and say, yo, this is the best business model out there for you, stuff like that, or you shouldn't do Amazon, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you should do SaaS, okay? We don't do that. We don't want to convince people of our business model. We only want to attract more aware people, okay? We want to attract people who are already aware of this whole entire thing. They're already in the trenches. They're already struggling. They already have the pain points. They probably already have made money from the business, all right? Which means they're going to be more likely to actually pay a high ticket price for your offer, for your high ticket info/consulting offer to get help because they understand the problem and they understand what it's worth solving that. All right, so we're religiously only targeting more aware people. Okay, so that's the first thing that I wanted to say. So your entire messaging, okay, the way we do that, by the way, is not through like keywords in the ads. So what we do is we have one ad set. Okay, we actually have more, but just to like illustrate the point, okay, we have one ad set, and in that one ad set we have about 25 to 30 ad creatives. Okay, we mostly use videos. I know some people that are crushing it with image ads. They just like got us a lower quality lead. If that, like, they just get us lower quality leads, if that makes sense. So yeah, most of these are video ads, and in those 25 to 30 unique ad creators, the way we are attracting our ideal, like our ICP, is basically through the copy. Okay, so our entire copy and the messaging, okay, messaging is the targeting. Okay, so whatever you talk about in your ad, okay, in your ad video, okay, whatever it might be, if you're talking about specific pain points that only apply to SaaS founders, to Amazon founders, whatever it might be, okay, you are going to attract them. Okay, Meta is going to analyze the words that you use in your ad creatives. Okay, they're going to analyze the words, right? And they're going to try to match that to the right type of person based on all the data, all the millions of data points they have about every single person that uses Meta, Instagram, Facebook, all of that. Okay, so they're going to analyze it. AI is going to analyze the text or like the copy, right? And they're going to like put it in front of the right type of person that is likely to convert to that ad, which is gonna like only attract your ICP, right? That's how we do it, all right? We have 25 to 30 unique ad creatives. The way we like understand who to target and how to target our ICP is based on our Fathom recordings. So we take all of our sales call transcripts. Okay, I'm spending some more time here because it's very important you understand the paid ads. Paid ads factor here. So we use all of our Fathom recordings. We analyze who closes versus who doesn't. Okay, and we only like write ads, or we only like basically tailor our messaging around those people who close. Okay, for us, for example, is somebody who is close to launching their SaaS offer, close to launching their SaaS product, right? Or somebody who's already actively scaling, but they're struggling to scale, actively scaling, or active SaaS owners, whatever you want to call it, right? These types of people, they are very likely to convert to our offer, and we know that through our sales call transcripts. Somebody who's very unlikely to convert is somebody who just started out, who is in the ideation phase of their SaaS, okay, like early ideation. They tend not to like close, and obviously beginners. Okay, so what do we do based on this? We basically understand this through Claude. Okay, what we do from here is we only write ads, okay? We only write ads for those types of people that are actually likely to convert, right? That's how we do it. That's the ad funnel, okay? That's how we script out and like run the ads, right? From there, from the ads, okay, from the paid ads, we obviously send them to an opt-in page, right? We have an opt-in page. Our opt-in page has a headline here, okay? I'm just gonna explain how it's structured. It has a headline that is tailored towards our ICP, as I said, okay? So we're only talking about the specific outcome that our ICP actually wants. What we're now split testing is actually two versions of a landing page for both ICPs that we're basically targeting, right? Yeah, we have, by the way, I didn't mention that, we have multiple angles per ICP, and that's how we get 25 to 30 ad creatives, okay? Multiple angles per ICP. But yeah, that's how we have it. We have our headline here, right? Let me make this better, whatever that was. Okay, so yeah, we have the headline here. Okay, we have a timer. Okay, we actually have a timer here. We have the date as well, date, and then we have the opt-in form, basically. And something that's very important to note here is we have in our opt-in form, we can do this because we're using AI, like website builder, page builders, whatever you want to call it. Okay, what we have with our forms is we only ask for their first name, and their email, right? We're not asking for their phone numbers, but what we do instead is, okay, we have this right here. We have a checkbox right here, right? We have a checkbox that says, yo, if you want to get a free gift, check this, right, before the webinar. So they check this, and when they check this box right here, a new form line appears, which is asking for their phone numbers, okay? And this makes it mandatory. Like if they want to have, if this checkbox is ticked, right, the phone number is going to be mandatory to fill out in order to, yeah, actually fill out the form and opt in, right? And then we have a button here to get them to sign up. So that's the hero section. Below that, we actually have a podcast, okay? So you know those meet your host sections, right? What we've seen works best for us specifically. This actually increased our sales, our opt-in rate by a lot, okay? We have our meet your host section here, meet your host, okay? And instead of like a simple boring text right here, we have a video, which is basically a podcast that is just giving us a lot of social proof, okay? I'm not gonna say which podcast it is, but it is a podcast. It actually talks about his story. It talks about all of this kind of stuff. It's a very known podcast, okay? And this is getting people to actually, like, from paid ads. You have to remember, they don't know you, right? So they check out the paid ads, they get to this page, and then they see this podcast right here, the podcast appearance. They check it out, and that's gonna make it much more likely that they actually show up, or like opt in and then later on show up, okay? So that's the Meet Your Host Founder section. Now after that, we have testimonials. Right, testimonials. Below that, we have a what you're gonna learn section. Okay, what you're gonna learn, whatever. And then we have 5 bullets basically in this section. And that's pretty much it. After each section, we have another button or another form. Okay, and that's the opt-in page, right? Pretty simple opt-in page, but it's very effective. Okay, from there, we send them to, we don't just leave it there, okay? We have 2 options, right? They either opt into it, okay, or they don't, okay? If they don't opt in, we can retarget them. If they opt in, they get to a separate page, which is not the thank you page yet, okay? It's actually an OTO offer, okay? So we have an OTO offer right here with a VSL, right? This offer summary here, and we're basically getting them to buy a $47 OTO to get some ad spend back, okay? So this OTO has to be tailored towards, again, those, like the ICPs that we're targeting, okay? It has to be something that the ICP actually wants, okay? Very important here to note. So this is an offer that the ICP wants, okay? It's gonna help them implement what they're gonna learn on the webinar. That's how we frame it, okay? And there, they can take it or not. If they take it, they get to a separate landing page, a separate thank you page actually, with a separate thank you video and stuff like that. We get them to immediately book their one-on-one implementation call with our SDR. That's one part of the offer actually right here, okay? It's a one-on-one implementation call that we're trying to get them to book in so we can upsell them later on to our high-ticket 5K offer, which is what we're selling, yeah, on the back end, right? Which is, we are also gonna increase the price very, very soon. Okay, yeah, this is basically the structure. We obviously also have our Google Meet, our Google Calendar link for the webinar. We still get them to show up to the webinar and stuff like that. But yeah, this page is mainly tailored around getting them to book that one-on-one onboarding call after the webinar. Okay, so we can upsell them later on to the high ticket offer, because if they buy the low ticket OTO, they're going to be much more likely to actually go ahead and buy the high ticket, right? If they don't take it, okay, we have 2 options right here that we're gonna give them. We have 2 buttons. One sends them to that page. The other one sends them to another page, which is another, just like opt-in, webinar opt-in thank you page, okay? And there we have another video that is, yeah, basically telling them what to do next, okay, to actually show up. We have below that what I like to call this the Google Calendar method, okay? So we take our Webinar Jam link, which is what we're using, Webinar Jam. You can also take your Zoom link, whatever it might be. We put that into Claude, right? And we tell Claude to set up a separate Google Calendar event, okay? And we're gonna put that link right here, okay? We have a button where they can immediately go ahead and add it to their Google Calendar. Why? They're gonna get, first of all, most people have their calendar widget on their home feed right here right when they open their phone. So that's gonna make it much more likely that they actually show up for it because they have it, it's like top of mind all the time because they're seeing it all the time. Okay. Another thing is Google Calendar is going to send them reminders before the webinar, which is also good. So yeah, I like to use the Google Calendar method, gcal method. Okay. From there, we have a Telegram group that we're also sending them. Okay. Telegram. So in that Telegram group, we're sending more free resources. And there's one thing that you can do with Telegram that you can't do with emails, for example, is you can send voice memos and you can send selfie videos, okay, which is also what we're using. So for example, 1 day out of the webinar, by the way, we start promoting our webinars from the paid ads 3 days out, okay, 3 days. Right. So 1 day out, we're, for example, going to send them a selfie video where we're talking to the phone. We flip the phone and show them the slides and tell them, yo, the slides are ready. Show up tomorrow and stuff like that. Okay. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with Telegram that you can't do with emails. And that is what you want to use on Telegram. Okay. After that, we also have FAQ videos. Okay. Answering the most frequently asked questions that are, I would say, mechanism related. Okay, so you're not going to go ahead and like talk about your objections that you're getting on your sales calls because that would be product related objections. Here we are only handling mechanism related objections that are basically going to get them to show up to the webinar. Because remember, they sign up for it. The entire goal now is to get them to basically show up. Okay, we do that through the thank you page for the OTO buyers. We do that through the video on the normal thank you page, through the Google Calendar method, through the Telegram, the FAQ videos. Another thing that we do is obviously SMS. Okay, we have SMS automations and we have a full email nurture sequence. Okay, where we have 15 long form emails that are going out before the webinar within those 3 days. So we're sending 5 emails a day, long form emails. These get upwards of 50 to 60% open rates sometimes, right? Because people actually care about it. If you actually talk about stuff that people care about, they're going to open it. Okay, so you want to do that. And in those emails, we're also sending them to that podcast appearance. Okay, podcasts, YouTube videos, case study videos, okay? We're trying to do everything we can to get them to consume more minutes of content before they actually show up for the webinar, okay? And that way, it's gonna be much more likely that they actually show up, consume the webinar, and then also go ahead, book a call, and convert, okay? Because you have to understand that they have to consume a lot of content before they actually buy. That's why we run webinars in the first place. But yeah, we do that even more by sending them from the emails to those podcasts and YouTube videos and case studies and all of that stuff, okay? Case studies as well. And yeah, that's pretty much the nurture process. We obviously also have SDRs. We're actually split testing that right now. SDRs calling them before the webinar versus after the webinar. So I'm not going to give any insights there because I don't have them yet, but we're actively testing that right now to see if that helps with the show rate, but also with the conversion rate later on. But yeah, and one important thing for the SMS, the first SMS automation, the first SMS that they're going to get is immediately going to send them to that podcast. We don't even give them the link to the webinar in that SMS. Okay, we basically send them to that podcast. We say something like, yo, I know you just signed up. Okay, I'm going to send you the join link later on Wednesday. Okay, that's when we run the webbies, right? But before that, check out this video, this podcast, stuff like that. Okay, so that's how we frame the first SMS message. And yeah, before the webinar, we obviously have multiple SMS reminders going out. Okay, like a couple of hours before, a couple of minutes before, same as the Telegram, emails, you know that stuff. Okay, now from there, we send them to the actual webinar presentation. Okay, and very important to note here, the webinar presentation is very long, okay? So I'm not going to go too much in detail here. I have a full course on my YouTube channel. You can check it out. It's over 2 hours long. But yeah, basically how the webinar is structured is we have an intro, okay? We have the content section. It's always the same, by the way. Intro, content, and then we also have the transition. Let me do this. Transition, pitch, and then the Q&A, okay? So how does that work? In the intro, you want to do multiple things, okay? You want to actually sell them on like staying throughout the whole thing, okay? Stay rates, right? You want to show proof, okay? So you're going to show your like authority, okay? You're going to show your case studies. You're going to show what you have achieved, okay? You're going to show all of the publications that you're featured in. You're going to show your YouTube, like everything basically. You're going to show how much you're making with your business, stuff like that, okay? So you're going to do that in the intro, right? Also case studies as well. We also have again, I'm not going to go too much in depth with it because it's going to make this video way too long. We also have a separate, like an entire section where we're basically saying, yo, this is what you're going to learn today. We have 5 bullets. For example, we call it the open loop section. Okay, open loops. So we have 5 open loops that they actually care about, that they're going to learn on the webinar. We introduce the 3 steps of the content section, all of that stuff. Again, the entire goal of the intro is to sell them on you and sell them on like showing up, or not showing up, but staying throughout the entire thing. Okay, that's what you have to do in the intro section. The content section, you're basically going to structure whatever you're teaching in 3 parts. Okay, you're going to structure it in 3 parts. Yeah, I'm not going to go too much. This is highly specific on whatever you're teaching on that webinar. Okay, a very important part here is you're going to teach the what. Okay, teach the what, not the how. Okay, so what that means is you're not gonna go into every single detail of the entire thing. Okay, but there's a caveat to this because you can't show too little. Okay, if you show too little, they're not only not gonna buy from you, but they're gonna be super annoyed because like if you like I saw that with so many webinars lately, they're just like showing stuff that they could have found out with like 1 prompt in Claude. Okay, you want to show actual sauce, right? But you just don't want to overdo it with simple like small details that don't matter. All right, that's what I mean by show the what and not the how, but don't overdo it. Okay, don't show too little because you want to have a sweet spot where you're teaching enough for them to understand, okay, you know your shit, right? But also not too much that actually bores them and actually makes it like adds friction to the sales process. Okay, so you're going to have 3 parts to your whatever you're teaching, and within those 3 parts you're also going to have transitions. For example, now that you did X, Y, and Z, okay, we're going to get to the next step, which is X, Y, and Z. Okay, so you want to frame it as, okay, now you already did this that we just covered, now let's get to the next step. Okay, that's how you structure the content section. The transition is basically how you get from content, right, to the pitch without being cringe, okay, without being too abrupt, right? So that's what the transition is for. Again, I'm not going to go too much in detail. In the pitch, you're going to have your offer that you're going to be pitching, and you're going to separate your offer into 2 parts, which is 1, your core offer, and then your bonuses. Okay, bonuses. That's what you're going to pitch them on the webinar. The core offer is going to have the obvious deliverables, right? Like obvious, what I mean by obvious is most people expect an onboarding call, most people expect a course, most people expect a community. That's what goes into the core offer. After hearing this, and this is going to take up like 3 to 5 minutes max, okay, to actually cover the core offer. Once they hear this, they're going to be in a maybe state, okay? And now you're going to have multiple bonuses, for example, extra one-on-one calls, software access, stuff like that, okay? You're going to add all of those as bonuses one by one. You're going to show it one by one, and then maybe, okay, like as I said, after hearing the core offer, they're going to be in a maybe state. Now you show bonus 1, okay? Now you show bonus 2, bonus 3, bonus 4, bonus 5, and so on. And that's going to tilt that maybe into a yes with like 3 exclamation marks. Okay, so that's how you pitch an offer, consulting offer, info offer on a webinar, right? And from there you have a general Q&A and a structured Q&A in the slides, and then a general Q&A for 20 minutes, around 20 minutes. Most of your calls are going to come in that Q&A. Okay, most of the calls that you're going to book are going to come in there. And that's how we structure the webinars, right? So pretty straightforward. From the webinars, they're going to book a call, okay? So we're going to have 2 types of people, right? We're going to have qualified people from the Typeform. So we use Typeform to qualify them and route them. So if they're qualified, they go ahead and book a call. Call booked, right? If they're unqualified, I'm just going to call it like this, okay? Our SDR is going to reach out and downsell them, okay? Downsell. This is what we're implementing right now. We're implementing a new downsell offer that I'm not going to cover in this video because it's very, very new, but I'm going to make it like a new video in the future because it's very important. It's a very interesting offer. I'm going to talk about that later on. Okay, but yeah, if they're qualified, they go ahead and book a call. What happens then is we have multiple things that are going to happen from there to actually get them to show up to the call. So we have our SDR dialing them immediately. Okay, we have 15 long form emails handling product related objections, showing them more proof, sending them more video, stuff like that. Emails. We have our SMS. We have SendBlue, and then we have the thank you page. Obviously, that should be the first thing that I talked about, probably. Yeah, the thank you page after booking a call. The thank you page is actually very important. So the thank you page looks like this. We have a video that explains the next steps and sells them on showing up to the webinar, to the sales call, right? Below the videos, we have FAQ videos. Okay, so we have videos right here that are covering product-related objections. We have 10 videos actually here. Below that, we have case studies, okay, case study videos. Below that, we have that podcast. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can add even more stuff to this. You can add, for example, group call recordings, whatever it might be. Get them to consume more content and sell them on showing up to that sales call that they just booked. All right. From there, they show up to the sales call. Sales call. Again, I could go much more in detail into every single one of these things. Okay. So for example, how the SDR process looks like, right? What the thank you, I just explained how the thank you page looks like, but how the SendBlue process looks like. For example, our SDRs, after calling them, based on what they say, that's what we're implementing right now as well. Based on what they say on that call, where they're at, okay, or what stage they're at, what objections they have, they're going to send separate sales assets, videos via SendBlue to those people. Okay. Actually, I didn't mention it. Above the thank you video, actually, we have a button that is basically sending them to to the SMS, iMessage SMSs, right? So this right here is going to open up iMessage with a preloaded text in that iMessage. Okay, so they just have to click on the text basically says yes, I'll attend, for example, or yes, I'm confirming my call, whatever it might be, and then they send it to our SendBlue. This doesn't eat into our credits in SendBlue, okay, which means we can have a lot of these people actually reach out to us. Then after that, if we send more messages, they're already going to know who we are. We're going to be able to call them, okay, and it's going to show up as maybe the offer owner, you know what I mean? So a lot of good stuff here as well. Pretty like a good golden nugget there. But yeah, that's what we do. This increases our show rates as well. Okay, very important. But yeah, I'm not going to go too much in detail into every one of these things. From there, we have the sales call. Again, our closers, they don't follow a script, but we have frameworks for each and every one of the objections that come up over and over again. Because if you think about it, we're getting the two types of ICPs on every single one of our calls, as I said, right? The objections and the roadblocks and everything is always going to be the same if you do what I just said. If you only target your your ICPs that are very likely to go ahead and convert on the sales calls, right? So that means we train our closers based on the exact objections and roadblocks that come up over and over and over again, which is also the reason why we're closing pretty nicely on cold traffic, right? So they're going to close a 5K deal, right? And that's the webinar funnel. Obviously, we can also send them the webinar recordings. Okay, there is a post-webinar follow-up process as well. Okay, so yeah, that's basically the thing. And one thing that I didn't mention here, our SDRs also, after triaging all the people that have booked a call, right? Our SDRs also go ahead and dial every single person who signed up to the webinar, okay, but they didn't show up. Okay, no shows. They're also going to dial them and try to get them to book a call. All right. That's the webinar funnel in a nutshell. That's how we've made over $160,000 in cash collected last month, close to $200,000 in revenue. With the new downsell implemented, with everything implemented, and going forward with this offer is going to be at multiple six figures cash per month. Okay, we started working on this almost starting at zero. So if you want us to build out and run your entire webinar funnel completely done for you, okay, where you only have to record the ads and hop on the webinar, okay, and some of the funnel videos, there is going to be a link in the video description. It's going to be the first link. It's going to send you to our website. We have a video that explains our exact offer step by step. I actually explain our exact deliverables. You can just check it out and see if it makes sense for you. If not, that's cool too. I appreciate you watching the video, and I'm going to see you in the next one.